Boston Sports Entertainment Network. Please subscribe, hit that like button, and as always, leave a comment, and thank you for enjoying the video.
I got the Boston Celtics going to the final.
I got to win the reality.
It's time to represent your city. Put your hands up. Kylie, you know we do it for Boston. Hey, ain't nobody gonna like Boston. Yeah, hey. Can't nobody do it like Boston. Where the legends get made, where the banners get raised, bright lights, big stage. Boston. All the fire we bring in a city full of rings, it's a beautiful thing out in Boston. And you ain't hard like that. You don't put it on the line with your squad like that. That's right, Boston. All we do is win like cigars in the gym, and we at it again to say, Beantown, what's up? What's up? 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 Feel the energy shift, now we jumping at the gym. Represent, showing out how we ball above the rim. Larry Legend, 86, to the truth in 08. Cement your name with the all-time great. So banner 18 in the Raptors. Celtic green, only green that matters. It's about that time. Ain't another city that's louder than mine. Always gonna shine with the game on the line. What you think was gonna happen, man? That's how we do it in Boston. Ain't nobody gonna like Boston. Yeah. Can't nobody do it like Boston.
Welcome to another episode of Dynasty Proud, episode 16, the Pacers preview. I am here with Alex. Jason, he is out, sitting there and doing good things with our city of Boston. But, man, Alex, it's been a while, so, man, how's it going?
Going great. We rested up for the Eastern Conference Finals like the rest of the Celtics, watching everybody else being a bloodbath with each other. It's a nice position to be in after the last few years where we've been playing Game 7s to advance.
Yeah, and man, I was sitting there and I was preparing for this episode with you and stuff, and I was just going through some topics, and I want to sit there and say, Alex, it kind of seems like this is a job, and the NBA, we are the managers in this job. When you go want to put in for vacation time, who do you go see, Alex? You go see your manager. And I just want to play a really quick video that proves my statement 100% true.
Can help a young player grow. You hear the "We Want Boston" chants here in Miami.
Now, Alex, a quick little recap. The Miami Heat, they put in their vacation slip. We sent them to Cancun. The Cleveland Cavaliers, they put in their vacation slip. We sent them to Vegas. The Knicks they wanted their vacation slip. We gave them an assist because they couldn't even sit there and play us. So we sent them down to South Beach. And now here we go. We got the Indiana Pacers doing the exact same. Teams don't learn, do they, Alex?
No, and they'll probably keep doing this, whoever comes out of the West. But they can all chant that together from their resort in Cancun. So I don't know what it is. You look at the NBA analysts and the media and Twitter, and everyone hates the Celtics. They talk down on them. Like, they shouldn't be here and they're not that good. But they want us so badly. And then when they get gentlemen swept by us, it's just injuries, it's excuses. All we can do is play the teams in front of them, and we're kicking everyone's ass right now.
Yeah, I haven't seen this much hate for a team in quite some time. Like even the 90s Bulls, didn't get this much hate, when they went and lost. Even the Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Golden State Warriors, the super team didn't get this much hate. Why does this Boston team, that is, in my opinion, the most perfectly put together team in the NBA, 1 through 10, why do we get so much hate from everybody?
It really doesn't make sense because, like, usually once you win a couple titles and you become like a dynasty, like the hate's going to come with it, like the Patriots, over the course of it. But they weren't hated prior to their first, second or even third Super Bowl. People talk out of both sides of their mouth. It's one, they're like, they hate us because we're so good. And then every year they're like, well, you're a super team. But at the same time, they're like, oh, well, no rings in X amount of years, 1 in 40 when that's actually 3 in 40. But it doesn't make sense because it's an easy team to root for. It's like these are guys that don't have off the court problems. They play the game the right way. They don't act like Draymond Green during the game. It doesn't really make sense why they hate us so much. And we're just dominating everybody. And it's like no matter what we do, it's not enough. Before every series, they want Boston. Everybody, all the Twitter haters are like, the other team in 5, 6, 7. And then when we win, it's, well, it took you 5 games to beat the G League, insert team name. And so then we don't even get credit for it. And then, well, if they didn't have the injuries, they would have beat you. Well, there's a reason we won 64 games, that we had the 4th best net rating in NBA history. We really are that good. Like, the team that's really benefited from injuries this postseason is the Pacers, because they got the Bucks without Giannis and without Dame for a game. They then got New York missing half their roster and then getting more injuries throughout the series. That's a team that's benefited from injuries. Convincing yourself that the Celtics would have lost to the play-in Heat or, the 48-win Cleveland Cavaliers, that's just like hopeful hating is what it is. So it doesn't make sense. And it's one thing when it's Twitter losers, like people that they just hate the Celtics because they hate the Celtics. They've, irrationally hate them. But then the NBA media, the analysts, like people that know the game of basketball, they're hating. Like Woj yesterday was like, oh, Dallas became the first team to reach the conference finals when we've been there for almost a week. Then Michael Wilbon was like, I would pick this Knicks team if they were healthy to beat the Celtics in a 7-game series. They just live in a world where they hate the Celtics, and their success is only due to other teams' injuries and not how good we are. They also don't mention that we are injured right now. We have missing Porzingis, who's like a basketball unicorn that we're good enough to win it without him. But when he's on the floor, it's almost like a cheat code for us. It makes us impossible to defend. On the defensive end, it's a rim protector that just closes up the lane. So, they don't give us any credit. And then when we win games, it's, well, they're winning by too much. They haven't really even been tested. Then we lose a game. It's like, well, see, this is why the Celtics can't be trusted and they're frauds. There's just no credit that's given to them. It's a perfectly built roster. I think what it is actually is they're afraid of us, because if you look at our roster, not only are they young, with the exception of Al Horford and Drew Holiday, everybody is under the age of 30, in their primes or coming into their primes, outside of Tatum, who will get a supermax this summer, and Derek White, who will get, an extension this summer. The team signed long-term. So they're afraid that if they get one this year, this could be the start of a dynasty. And they don't know what to do with themselves. So they're preying on a Celtics downfall so that maybe we overreact, we break this team up, and, they never have to see that come to fruition. Thankfully, Brad Stevens is running it, and not, Patrick Sullivan out of Dorchester that just wants to play NBA GM and just blow up the roster with every loss. But the same thing's going to happen again this series. They'll probably win it in 5 or 6. They'll lose game 2 for 48 hours. The world's going to end. This is why the Celtics aren't contenders, Pacers in 5, Pacers in 6. And then they'll win the next couple of games. And they'll be like, well, you played the Pacers, like, Mickey Mouse run. People forget every team's run is they've benefited from injuries. Look at the Bucks a few years back. Those are the ones that are actually talking a lot right now about, the Celtics on a Mickey Mouse run. They played the super team Nets, but without, James Harden, without Kyrie Irving. And if Kevin Durant's foot is a half-inch shorter, they get knocked out in the second round. They then played the banged-up Hawks, the Atlanta Hawks, in the conference finals, which was like a cakewalk. Then they played the injured Chris Paul-led Suns in the finals. Even if you want to go further back, the Lakers, Mickey Mouse run in the bubble. The Lakers in 87, they talk about the all-time great Lakers teams. They played 2 teams that were under 500 in that playoff run. The only team they played in the West over 500 was 42-40 before they eventually beat the Celtics. So I think the only way they're going to give us credit is if we win the title. And Denver's not going to be there, which isn't our fault, So it's actually a big break for the Celtics. But either team we face in the finals is a contender, and we'll definitely earn it if we win.
Yeah. Let's sit there and talk about Denver real quick with Jokic winning the MVP. And then, did you sit there and see, Alex? They went and they were talking to Tatum about, do you sit there and think you're going to be getting, defensive, all defensive team, or, the MVP, and this and that. They're talking single awards, and Tatum shut him down. He goes, there's only one thing I'm worried about. It's the team championship. What does that show for him, with the growth of being a young player, but being the leader of this team?
I think it's a sense of maturity. I think he has his eyes on the prize on what really matters, because everybody talks down on Tatum when he was averaging 30 a game last year, when he was putting up, the all-time Game 7 record, 51 points in a Game 7. It's always like, well, he doesn't have a ring. He doesn't have a ring. With for side context, Michael Jordan didn't win his first ring until he was 28. Giannis didn't win it until he was 26. Steph Curry till he was 27. When he then he got Durant to win more. LeBron didn't win it till he was 28. So like, they're holding Tatum to a higher standard that they hold all-time greats, but then they won't put him. But then they'll get mad at you if you put him in a top 5 category. It's like, again, people make a double standard to fit their argument if they don't like Tatum, which doesn't make sense. He does everything the right way. He's a team player. They would rather him chuck up 30, 40 shots a game in a loss than, have an efficient 22 to 25 points in a win. The whole team's talking like this, though. They don't care about individual awards. And then you look at the voters, they're like, oh, we won't give Tatum credit until he wins a title. We won't consider him for MVP. Meanwhile, Joel Embiid's never been past the second round, and he got MVP last year, with the NBA, like the analysts like Perkins, literally crying for him on, the national media that he should be winning, and then, kind of made like a race thing out of it. So, I don't know why Tatum's so disliked. He's like the perfect superstar. Like you said, he's not a headache on the floor. He's not a problem maker off the floor. The team is full of likable guys, but I guess, everyone just hates Boston, and they want Boston, so they're going to get him.
Yeah, if you look at the team overall, throughout the season, it was always that, oh, it's your game. It's your game. There was no, oh, I got to get the ball. Jaylen Brown never said, give me the ball, I want to drop 40 a night. Porzingis never said, give me the ball, I want to drop 30 a night. Tatum never said that. Drew Holiday never said that. It was, oh, you have the hot hand? Let's just keep feeding you the ball, and we'll be your supporting cast. There is not that me mentality that you see on other teams, like you said, with Steph Curry, with Durant, LeBron when he went down to Miami. There was never that me mentality on the Celtics team, and the coach has got them all like on lockdown. I want to say. Like, he can sit there and he can chirp in Drew Holiday's ear one thing, and then he can go help out Jason Tatum on another. Like, he's got that team coached across the board very well. And, people hate. Like, I don't understand how you can hate something unless it's what you alluded to earlier, Alex, to where we are the only team in the NBA that has 1 through 7 right now under long-term contracts once Derek White gets his money. And all of a sudden, they are fearing for their life that this could be a 2-peat, a 3-peat, a 4 out of 5 years, where the Celtics are going to be in the Eastern Conference, in the championship game, winning championships, where you're going to start seeing teams and players get scared and worried, like just like this summer. They're going to be all sitting, okay, this guy is going to, like, we're going to say LeBron because LeBron is probably one of the biggest guys where, but it's not about basketball. It's just a game, I can't believe he said that. But he's going to be like, okay, if I can get this guy to come here with Anthony Davis and myself, and maybe get this guy to come here, maybe we have a shot against the Celtics. No, you don't. Because it's all about you and what you want, not about the team. Am I right, Alex?
Yeah, team mentality is what it should be about. Like, there's people that are just fans of individual players, and they care more about statistics, and they just box score watch. So they'll tell you Tatum had a bad game when he scored 25 points and the Celtics won by 25 because he didn't score 40. or he doesn't have the it factor. Or the Celtics don't have those like they just make these like BS agendas and narratives to try to cope with the fact that the Celtics are so good. They act the right way in the media. They say the right things. They do the right things in the court. They're not a bunch of like, I don't even know what word I'm trying to use, but like they don't act like buffoons on the court. Like everything's kind of first class. That's the way the organization is from the top down. And I'm proud to be a fan of this team, that the way they act like that. And then they're every single go under any post that's mentions the Celtics, and 90% of comments are just filled with hate. They're filled with hopeful hate of this is finally the round that they're gonna get beat and get exposed. Like, where's that been all year? The Celtics are in this position for a reason. And if you think they're catching some breaks, well, that's what happens when you take the regular season seriously. When you win 64 games, when you lock everything up a month ahead of time, where you can rest guys going up so they're not all banged up and bruised and injured, where you can, get ready for the postseason versus having to be in dogfights up until the postseason. For all the talk of Jimmy Butler, like, oh, Boston wouldn't be here, I would have sent the Knicks home. Maybe if you actually played during the regular season and took it more seriously, you wouldn't be in a position to be in a play-in game where you can get yourself injured trying to foul bait, at the end of the first half to get a call that you are out. So then you have that excuse, so like, oh, it's easy to have that. Oh, we would have won if I was there, So that's just all it is. It's just hate. But at the end of the day, all that matters is winning a title. There's so much pressure on this Boston team that's ahead of schedule because they have these narratives like the Celtics are a super team every year. I advise you, Celtics fans, not even Celtics fans, they're not the ones hating, Twitter people, to go and look at the Celtics roster from 3 years ago when we played the super team Nets. We had Romeo Langford, Tristan Thompson in our starting lineup with Semi Ojeleye playing heavy minutes, and Tatum scored 50 and took a game off that super team Nets. I guess that was a super team, but like that's, I guess, what they want. They want Tatum to score 50, do it all by himself. But then if he loses, it'll be, like, oh, can't win. The Celtics haven't won in X amount of years. So it's like, damned if you do, damned if you don't. At the end, all that matters is the championship. That lasts forever. Let them talk because this team's going to be good for a very long time.
Yeah. You look at like the 90s Bulls. Jordan couldn't rebound, everything himself. He went out. He got Rodman. You got Steve Kerr. Like, Tatum has all these people around him that can help make, the team and him better as he makes everybody else better. Porzingis, in my opinion, was the golden ticket this year. That was our missing piece, and we have him for a very long time. And, Pacers series coming up. He's going to be out game 1 and 2. But we seen him on the bike yesterday, hustling, getting into shape, getting ready. So I would love personally to see him games 4 and 5. I'm saying games 4 and 5 because I think that the Celtics are going to take it in 5 one more time. As long as the Pacers don't get salty and want to play hard-notch defense and just try to injure us, like every other team in the NBA. Trying to take off our key pieces. But Alex, what are your thoughts with KP, potentially coming back this season? This series.
So I think he will be back. A lot of it will be series dependent. If we go up 2-0, I don't think they're going to bring him back or even consider bringing him back until we get in a position where we actually need him. Like, if we win the first 2 games in Boston, I don't think he's playing in game 3. We have the luxury, at least, at the current moment, to be able to let him recover, to not have to rush him back. If this was the finals coming up, I think he'd be back almost immediately. I think he could play. But, we'll see how the series goes. If we start, when we do our inevitable game 2 loss followed by the hysteria for 48 hours, people are going to be like, trying to rush him back or see you can't win without Porzingis. And then we'll go ahead and, win the games in Indy. I think we should finish it in 5. Indy, though, unlike the other teams, they have no injuries. Granted, they are missing Ben Mathurin, but he's been gone since before the playoffs. So the rest of their team, they're deep, they're healthy, they're young, they're quick, they can shoot. So this should be a challenge for the Celtics. But then, of course, when they win in 5, it'll be like, well, it's just the Pacers. Well, they ended up in the conference finals for a reason. Yeah, injuries helped them get there, but they're still a good team. Like Tyrese Halliburton's a great player. They have a lot of shooters. The thing they can do is they can space the floor, they push the ball, and they can keep up with us offensively. The difference is they don't play defense or have the defenders that we have on the other end. So they may score over 110 points a game, maybe even 120, but they're going to give up 130, 135. The only real like lockdown defender they have is Neesmith, who, pray for the rest of our team, our ankles, our knees, because when he's just recklessly flying around, he's the one I'm nervous about re-injuring Porzingis because he plays so recklessly out there. He's turned himself into a good player. I don't know why he's still so salty to the Celtics, because if we don't make that trade, he's not getting this type of opportunity in Boston that got him the minutes he's getting, the success he's had, and then the contract he ended up getting. So he should be thankful. If anything, we gave him that opportunity, and now he's actually getting to have a postseason run. If he was still here in Boston, his ceiling was maybe like a Pritchard or a Hauser role. Like, he's getting a much increased opportunity now, and he's playing really well. But like, he has like an extra chip on his shoulder with the Celtics. We played them 5 times this year due to the in-season tournament. We won 3 of them. One of them was, kind of a rough call at the end of the game in Indy, where, Jaylen Brown got fouled at the end. They overturned it where it was a clear foul and gave Indy the ball. Then they called a phantom foul on the other end. So we kind of got screwed in that game. But, I think we should be able to play offensively like the way we really want to, because like, they've been tough on us with Miami and with Cleveland, the way they've defended Tatum and kind of forcing everybody else to beat you. Indy doesn't really have the horses to do that defensively. So I think we should see a great series from Tatum. We have so much floor spacing on the floor. There will be times like yesterday, Indy had like an all-time shooting performance. We saw it was a fluke when Miami did it, but Indy can really do that. But they're not going to do that every single game, and every single game is still the same defense. So we should be able to score at will on them. I want to say Celtics in 5. It could possibly go 6. Indy hasn't lost a home game this postseason, but either had Cleveland until last series. We haven't lost a road game this postseason. So I actually trust us more on the road than at home. I think sometimes at home we get complacent with success, especially, when we win game 1 by so much that we kind of go through the motions. The other team's playing more desperate. Their shots start falling, and then we just can't stop the avalanche. So I can see them winning a game in Boston and then everyone freaking out, and then the Celtics going on the road and winning both in Indy. So I'm going to say Celtics in 5 for my prediction. I think we're in an advantageous position to have a team like Indy waiting. I don't think the Bucks would have beaten us, but I think seeing the Bucks or the Sixers or, like the last couple of years, the Heat in the conference finals as like the foe that's waiting, that's like a more hardened seasoned team, we're not going to have that. So this is a younger, more inexperienced team we're facing. And I think if we're focused and serious, we should be able to take care of business. And Porzingis coming back is a bonus. We mentioned pre-show. I don't think he's going to need to go right back into a starting role playing 30-plus minutes a game. I think you can bring him off the bench, 15, 20 minutes a night, ease in, space the floor a little bit for everybody else, provide some rim protection, because we may not need him in this series, but you don't want to go straight from a month off into NBA Finals level intensity and speed. You want to ramp him back up into it. And if we can take care of business, the NBA Finals dates are set. June 6th is when the finals start. If we can finish this in 5, he'll have like 9-10 days off additional of rest. Even if it goes 6, it's still going to be a good week plus off. So as long as we don't play with our food here and we're serious, we should be able to buy additional time for Porzingis and for everybody else to get rested. And one final thing I'll say, everybody talks about, the easy path the Celtics are had. But meanwhile, the last couple of years, it was, the Celtics, they play with their food too much. They extend series further than they should be. You look at the 2022 finals run. We let the Bucks go 7. We let the Heat go 7. By the time we got to the finals, we were fatigued. We were gassed. We were banged up. The Warriors faced all injured teams on the way there. They had 5-game series. And granted, they had an all-time great player in Steph Curry, but they were fresher in the finals. And then over the course of the series, that was really to their advantage. So it should be noted and appreciated that we're taking care of business and letting guys rest up. What good does it do to extend series? Like, just to, have some adversity. Like, we've had adversity the last few years. It's nice to take care of business, to move on and, advance to the next round. And so we can come into the finals fresh, where, you look at the West, like Minnesota was just in a 7-game dogfight of a series. Dallas was in a 6-game, like, hard-fought series. I expect that series to go 6 or 7. So we can take care of business early. They're the ones, they're getting battle tested, but they're inexperienced and they're getting more beat up, whereas we're flying through these teams. So that should be a benefit for us, with the ultimate goal of winning the ring, not providing entertaining series for opposing fan bases.
Yeah, that statement there, Alex, just shows exactly the, talking out both sides of your mouth. Because like you said, 7 games against the Heat, we can't sit there and we play with our food too much. But then this season, like you said, we went and wrapped everything up a month early. There were teams still fighting for a playoff spot, and we were sitting there at the top, guaranteed a playoff spot. Then all of a sudden we go in there all season long, take care of business. Playoffs, take care of business. But then they still want to bring hate because they're injured. You can't sit there and have both sides. Like this Celtics team, it's not our fault. Do you think, and this is just a question I want to throw out there, if the Celtics were in the West, do you think that we would sit there and still have the same mentality, take care of business, and try to blow through people?
Oh, I think obviously you can play what's in front of you. We're not in the West. We're in the East.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, our geographical location has us on the East Coast. But you take care of business, and like people say that, but they won 23-7 against the West this year, which was the best record in the East. Which, if you put that out over the course of the season, we won 64 games. If you averaged out 23-7, that's 63 wins. Like people will do anything but give the Celtics credit. So it's mind blowing, like how much hate this team gets. But like the Bucks get the excuse that they were injured, but they haven't made it past the first round the last 2 years. Since they won a title, they haven't made it past the second round, and they're like, oh, they have a ring. I'm sure they'll give Tatum the same grace if we win the title this year, and then the next 3 rounds are second round exit, first round exit, first round exit. I'm sure they'll give him the benefit of the doubt the way they do Giannis. It doesn't make sense, but at the end of the day, you play who's in front of you, and survive in advance, and that's what they've done, and they're doing it in quick fashion. The only game people want to remember from the series is the one they lose. They were never going to go 16-0 during the playoffs. They weren't going to go 82-0 during the regular season. Every Celtics loss is some sort of indictment on the team, but every win there's an excuse for why they did it. So, like I said, it doesn't matter at the end because the only goal is make it to the finals, win the championship, and be healthy to get there. And so far, they're doing that.
Yeah. So, Celtics, we both agreed, beat the Pacers in 5, and I love that long layoff. They can get Porzingis 100% back, and either way, they are going to need Porzingis for the finals, like you said. And it's going to be a dogfight, I think, over there in the West between Dallas and the Timberwolves. Who do you think's going to? And this is where I think you and I are both going to differ. I want them to face the Timberwolves. I want them to face a healthy Now, what's going to be ironic is if, God forbid, Towns would get injured, and then we would face the Timberwolves, because that is something I don't want. But I think, a healthy Towns, a healthy Timberwolves team would actually give us some competition. Is it Denver? No. But the Timberwolves wanted it more. That's why Denver's home, and I don't want out of the whole season, Alex, the one play when you sit there and say the Mavericks, right, was when Luka got crossed over, and that's the only picture in my head when he fell, in that game. That was
Jalen crossover.
Yes, that's the only thing I can think of, and it's like, no, I don't want to see any of that, because it's I want to see the Timberwolves.
So for me, I think, here's something people need to understand: everything is matchup dependent. Like everyone was afraid of Denver, and I think we could have beaten them. But each of our games with them came down right to the end. They just they were a tough matchup for us. They were a better matchup for Minnesota, and going forward with that, Minnesota's a better matchup for us. Because the way Jokic plays, it was really hard to defend him. And not that Anthony Edwards isn't great, and he is, but he won't have the finals experience that Jokic has. The way he dominates isn't the way Jokic dominates, and it's a lot easier to contain. We have good defenders, like Drew Holiday, Derek White, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown to throw at him. It's a different matchup. Matchups matter. And to Celtics fans, they're like, oh, how are you going to say Denver was easy? Like if Minnesota beat Denver, then we probably would have beat them 4-0. I'm like, it doesn't work like that. Like, just because one team beats one team doesn't mean that we could have beat that team, or, if one team struggles, vice versa. Like, it doesn't work like that. I would love a Dallas Celtics matchup, because I think the storylines would be there. You'd have, the Luka and Tatum. You'd have Kyrie coming back to the Garden, in the finals. And I think that would be the easiest matchup of the 2 remaining teams, because they can't defend like the Wolves can. Yeah, they have the offensive firepower, but I just feel that is a much easier matchup for us. Obviously, the worst case scenario there is Kyrie winning a title on our home floor. That just this thought sickens me. But we've beaten him 10 straight times. Like, I feel like we know how to defend him. Like, yeah, he's going to get his numbers, so will Luka. But every time the Celtics and Mavs played the last couple of years, Tatum outplays Luka. Like, people may be like, oh, well, Luka had 45, Tatum had 38, so Luka outplayed Tatum, but Luka shot 10 more shots and lost the game by 20. Like, there's no context taken in that. People just box score watch. But I think we should be able to beat either team. I hope that series goes 6 or 7 and we can take care of business in ours. With Porzingis, I mean, the thing is, the difference between those two teams is Minnesota's a much bigger team. Defensively, they're more hard-nosed. They have the two bigs down low. Now, Cat's not a great defender. Rudy Gobert is as a rim protector, but the way we match up well against them is that you have Gobert on the floor, who's a rim protector, but he's not a perimeter defender. If you have Porzingis out there, you pull him out of the paint. That opens the paint out for everybody else. If you don't pull him out, if he stays down there, we're just going to have wide open shots on the perimeter. And then on the other end, yeah, he's a big body around the rim, but like with Jokic, he was too, but Jokic can step out. Jokic can hit shots. Jokic can beat you with his passing. That's not who Gobert is. So Gobert may be a monster on the glass. He may be tough down low, but outside of that, that's where he's successful. He's not a free throw shooter. He can't hit jump shots. He's not a passer. So I think that team is going to be a lot easier to handle than Denver would have been. I mean, look at where the Celtics are right now. We have, as long as we can take care of business, we have the Pacers and then either the Minnesota Timberwolves or the Dallas Mavericks staying in the way of us and Ben are 18. You told us that before the season. We wouldn't know what to do with ourselves, Like, we're in this advantageous position because of how seriously we took the regular season, because of how seriously we took the playoffs, and, not playing with our food. And, we deserve this. So just, look at what's in front of you. Don't look ahead. And I think they've said that throughout the season, like Tatum, Brown in their interviews, not skipping steps, not looking ahead. Whereas last year they would let series extend because they're like, oh, this team isn't as good as us. Like Atlanta, they said there's no business that should have been 6. That should have been a 4 or 5 game series. And they started looking ahead already. And then they let it go to 6 and they almost let it go to 7. This year's team isn't doing that. So there's no reason looking at who's remaining and the team that we have that we shouldn't win the championship. I think either Dallas or Minnesota, yeah, they're a good team. They're going to be better than Indy as far as a challenge, but I don't see any reason we couldn't beat either of those teams. I think they both present their own challenges in a way, but I think we'd be the prohibitive favorite going into either. Maybe Minnesota, since they're the flavor of the month, a lot of people would pick them, but it doesn't really matter who we play, in my opinion. We should win either of those series in 6.
Yeah, like I Porzingis, like you said, stretching that court. He's the difference maker. Overall, Horford, yeah, he can body him down low, Gobert, but if we draw him out, that's all, all lanes, because the Wolves don't have the guards that can sit there and, stop Tatum, Brown, White, even Pritchard, coming off the bench. Like, they don't have all that. So, we need Porzingis back for the finals. We need him to be able to stretch the court. That's what he's done all year. He's done that all year, and it's opened up the lanes left and right for us to score at will. So, so you would like to see Dallas. I would love to see the Timberwolves myself. What do you think is the only thing besides injuries that can stop us from advancing to the finals?
So I think the team is so talented and good and well-rounded. Top 2 defense, number 1 offense. I think the only thing that can really stop us is, some bad old habits. And I think it's giving away games that you should win. So not making free throws, getting sloppy, passes and dribbling and like a lot of turnovers. Yeah, like you may have the freak shooting games like, you did in game 2 of both the Miami and the Cleveland series. But like for us to lose 4 out of 7 times, I think it's more about us than anything the other teams can do, because I think we're much better than all the remaining teams. So getting into bad habits, like, yeah, they won game 4 in Cleveland, but if you watch their fourth quarter offense, it's the same thing you saw the last few years that just like blows your mind. And that's why Porzingis was brought in, where it's just like 20 seconds of dribbling the ball around the perimeter, doing isolation, not passing it, not creating looks, and then just taking tough isolation shots like at the end of the shot clock. where, yeah, they hit them that night, but like losing a game like that, where you're just trying to run out the clock in the game, trying to get out of there, and then it's just the momentum's going the other way. So that's why you have Porzingis, where if you have nothing going on offense, throw it to him at the top of the key. He can see over everybody. If they don't double team him, he's just going to shoot or back the player down. If they do, we have 4 floor spaces around him. So I think it's just getting back into old habits, getting sloppy, looking ahead, not coming with intensity and effort. But I want to think that the whole season they've had the preparation, the mindset of winning the title, and that the further along they go in the playoffs, you should have less and less of those issues because they're even more locked in. They're even more serious. Like that prize that they have at the end of the line is just right there in front of them. So I can't see any way they don't make the finals. Like not a knock on Indiana, but we're so much better than that team that, yeah, they may have a game or two where they get hot shooting or it's just not our night. But 4 out of 7 in either series is an indictment on us, not anything the other team did well. Like Denver's the only team that could have beat us 4 out of 7 where we'd be like, look, that's a better team. It's the champions. Like, what can you do? Neither of these teams have the experience Denver has. They have great players. They don't have Nikola Jokic. So I don't think any of these teams can beat us. I think they could beat us if we're not playing our game. But if we're playing our game at a high level the way we should, then I think we should win the championship.
Okay, Alex, final question for you. And this is going to be the important one. How many games are you going to be watching live in the NBA Finals?
How many games will I be watching live? Right now, I don't have a plan to go to a game. I'm down here in South Florida. I'm planning to go up to Boston right before Game 5, and I should be there through the end of the series. Celtics fans, if you're watching this, I'm 8-0 on games this year. I'm 27-4 over the last 3 years. If you want to invite me as a +1 or sell me face value tickets, to help guarantee a Celtics victory to lead us to a championship, make a great guest. But I don't have any plans at the moment. But also 2 years ago when I flew up to Boston for the finals, I didn't have plans to go to a game. I ended up going to Game 6, unfortunately. Might be the last time I saw a loss at a Celtics game. But so I don't have any plans to go. I would love to go. Game 5 would be the goal if I am going to go to a game. We'll see what happens. But, yeah, I mean, just, it'd be exciting just to be in Boston, being around the greatest fan base, be in the streets after they win, hopefully, knock on wood. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, but hopefully we will be winning a championship, whether I'm there or not.
Well, Alex, I will sit there and try to send out some feelers because we got to get you there on the ground level for not only here at Dynasty
Celtics organization
Proud.
needs to get involved. I have receipts from all the games I went to prove I have this record. So come on, Wick, Brad, do the right thing.
So, but okay, Alex, any final thoughts here?
No, I mean, this is like 2 series in a row where you've had long layoffs beforehand. I expect them to be ready to go. The Knicks obviously would have been, tougher for themselves because they're so shorthanded and banged up where like that quick turnaround would have hurt them. Indiana's a younger team. They have more pieces. They aren't injured. So we have to be ready to go on Tuesday. I'm sorry. We have to be ready to go, take care of business. It'd be nice to actually just win both home games and not go 1-1 back to, the opponent's turf and like have to be focused on like taking both games out there. I mean, obviously you want to win every game, but take care of business at home. We have home court advantage for a reason. We were 37-4 during the season. If we just win our home games, we're the champions. We have home court throughout. So I want to see the Celtics come out ready to go and win both of these first 2 in Boston.
Yeah. So, guys, I want to sit there and make sure you head on over to Twitter at DynastyProud18. 18 is what we're going to be getting here by the end of June. Make sure you follow us, our big promotion, Boston Sports Entertainment Network at BSEN_617. And this is what I want to leave for all of you guys that hate the Celtics. Until next time, check us out.
Can help a young player grow. You hear the "We Want Boston" chants here in Miami.